When people rank the Straw Hats, they usually ask one question: who's the strongest? But that's the wrong question. Because One Piece was never about who hits the hardest, it's about who changed the most. So today, we're ranking every Straw Hat by growth. Not power, not feats, not bounties, but how far they've come from who they used to be. And by the end of this list, you might be surprised who truly grew the most. Growth in One Piece isn't linear. It isn't about leveling up. It's about confronting trauma, choosing trust over fear, redefining self-worth, and learning what freedom actually costs. Some Straw Hats started broken, some started confident, some didn't even know who they were. This ranking measures who had to change the most internally to stand where they are now. Number 10, Frankie, the man who learned to build without guilt. Frankie's growth isn't loud, even if he is. When we first meet him, Frankie hides behind bravado, steel, and spectacle. Every joke, every outrageous invention is a shield meant to distract from the truth. He believes his creations caused the death of his mentor Tom. To Frankie, invention wasn't pride, it was penance. That guilt shaped everything about him. He built bigger, louder, stronger, trying to justify his existence through usefulness. But Frankie wasn't running from the past. He was letting it define him. His turning point came when he finally understood something Tom always knew. Creation itself was never the crime. Intention mattered. Love mattered. By building 1,000 Sunny, Frankie didn't just make a ship. He redeemed his hands. He chose to build not out of shame, but out of care. Not to prove himself, but to protect the people who trusted. Frankie didn't become a different person. He became someone who could create without fear. And that quiet self-acceptance is the foundation of his growth. Number 9, Brook, the man who chose to live again. Brook's growth isn't about overcoming fear. It's about surviving loss. When Brook joins the crew, he's already experienced the worst fate imaginable, watching his entire crew die one by one, then drifting alone for decades with nothing but regret, memory, and music to keep him sane. He laughs, he jokes, he sings, but all of it masks a life that already ended once. Brook didn't need to learn how to fight. He needed to learn how to live. His turning point isn't a single battle. It's his decision to keep his promises to Laboon, to his fallen crew, to the Straw Hats who gave him something he never expected, a future. For Brook, growth meant allowing joy back into his life defined by grief, choosing connection over isolation, purpose over mourning. He didn't forget his past. He learned to carry it forward with a song, a smile, and the courage to keep going. Brook didn't return from death. He returned to life. Number 8, Jinbei, strength that chose belonging. Jinbei didn't begin broken. He began burdened, carrying the weight of history, injustice, and promises made in blood. His growth isn't marked by new techniques or louder victories. It lives in a quieter decision, to stop standing between worlds and finally stand with people. He moves from duty to conviction, from enduring the tides of discrimination to believing unity can truly exist. What makes Jinbei's growth so profound is that he dares to hope. By joining the Straw Hats, he isn't simply choosing crew. He's choosing faith in a future that has never been kind to his people. He turns his strength into a bridge instead of a shield, accepting the risk that belief might fail. And in a world shaped by hatred and fear, that willingness to believe may be Jinbei's greatest act of courage. Number 7, Robin, from living as a ghost to choosing to live. Robin's growth is about permission to exist. When she joins the Straw Hats, Robin doesn't believe she deserves a future. She survives by staying useful, invincible, and detached. A woman who learned very early that the world will burn her for her knowledge she never chose to carry. O'Hara didn't just destroy her home. It taught her that living was a crime. Robin's transformation isn't loud or dramatic, it's internal. It happens the moment she stops expecting betrayal and starts accepting care. When she says, "I want to live," it's not defiance, it's confession. A declaration that she's finally allowing herself to want something more than survival. By choosing the Straw Hats, Robin doesn't escape her past, she reclaims it. Her knowledge stops being a curse and becomes a gift she protects, not one she hides. Robin's growth is the courage to believe that even someone the world tried to erase is allowed to live fully, and without apology. Number 6, Nami, from survivor to strategist. Nami's growth isn't about control. When we first meet her, every choice she makes is driven by survival. She steals, lies, and manipulates not because she's cruel, but because she's learned early that trusting people gets you hurt. Her world is numbers, maps, and exits. Emotional distance is her armor. For a long time, freedom for Nami meant never needing anyone. Her growth begins when that mindset breaks. By choosing to trust the Straw Hats, Nami learns that control doesn't come from hoarding power. It comes from sharing risk. She evolves from a thief running from the world into a strategist shaping it. Every battle plan, every weather calculation, every impossible navigation decision reflects her shift from fear to confidence. Nami doesn't just survive anymore. She leads the crew safely through chaos, and that makes her one of the most important forces on the ship. Number 5, Zoro. Strength that bowed to a greater dream. Zoro didn't lose his ambition. He refined it. In the beginning, his strength existed for himself, a lone blade chasing a singular title. But growth forced him to aim that ambition outward. He learned that power without direction is just violence, and pride without purpose is isolation. His evolution comes from choosing loyalty over ego, from realizing true strength isn't standing above others, but standing behind a dream worth protecting. Zoro places Luffy's future above his own pride, not out of obedience, but out of absolute certainty in what that dream represents. Zoro's growth is proven in silence, in moments no one celebrates. Pain exhorted without applause, sacrifices made where the only witnesses is his own resolve. By serving a dream greater than himself, Zoro becomes more than a swordsman chasing glory. He becomes the blade that clears the captain's path forward, even if it means shattering himself in the process. Number 4, Sanji. From self-sacrifice to self-worth. Sanji's growth is about learning that love doesn't require self-destruction. From the very beginning, Sanji believes his value comes from what he can give up, his pride, his safety, and even his life. He was raised to think kindness must be earned through suffering and that protecting others means never protecting yourself. That mindset turns Sanji into a martyr long before it turns him into a hero. Whole Cake Island exposes the truth he's been running from. Sanji doesn't think he deserves to be chosen. He leaves the crew not because he doesn't care, but because he cares so deeply that he believes his absence is the greatest gift he can offer. His real growth happens when he lets others fight for him. By asking for help, Sanji breaks the cycle that says love equals pain. He learns that strength isn't silent endurance, it's trusting that your crew wants you alive, whole, and standing beside them. Sanji's journey isn't about becoming stronger than his past. It's about realizing he was never worthless to begin with. Number 3, Usopp, the coward who chose to stand anyway. Usopp's growth is the most visible because it's the most human. He never shed his fear. He never outgrew doubt. If anything, he became more aware of how terrifying the world truly is. What changed wasn't the fear, it was the choice. Usopp learned that courage doesn't erase panic or silence, the voice telling you to run. It simply means moving forward while that voice is still screaming. Every step he takes is heavy. Every stand costs him something, and that's exactly why it matters. Every brave act comes after hesitation. Every victory is preceded by shaky hands. Every lie he once told himself becomes a promise he has to live up to. That's real courage. Not the absence of fear, but the decision to stand anyway, knowing how badly it might hurt. Number 2, Chopper, from monster to doctor. Chopper's growth is rooted in identity. When we first meet him, Chopper believes the world only sees him as a monster, a mistake born from silence, feared by humans and rejected by reindeer. Even after becoming a Straw Hat, that fear never fully leaves him. He hides behind hats, jokes, and obedience because he's terrified of being unwanted again. Chopper didn't need strength, he needed self-worth. His true growth happens when he stops asking whether he deserves to be there and starts acting like someone who knows his role matters. Whether it's standing up to enemies far stronger than himself or pushing his medical limits to save allies, Chopper learns that being kind doesn't make him weak, it makes him essential. By embracing his role as a doctor, Chopper reclaims the name Monster and transforms it into something protective instead of shameful. He isn't the crew's mascot, he's the healer in their heart. Number 1, Monkey D. Luffy, the boy who became freedom. Luffy didn't change who he was. He learned what it truly meant to be himself. From the reckless child who punched without thinking, he became someone carrying the hopes, dreams, and burdens of entire nations. Every island he touches, every tyrant he topples, every ally he inspires adds weight, not just to his fists, but to his spirit. His growth wasn't about maturity in the usual sense. It wasn't about restraint or compromise. It was about responsibility without losing joy. He learned that being the future Pirate King isn't about controlling the seas. It's about protecting the people, dreams, and freedom the seas represent. He embraces the consequences of his choices while still laughing at the wind in his hair, fighting for friends and chasing adventure. That balance, freedom and duty, fun and burden, is the hardest growth of all. It's what makes Luffy not just a leader, but a symbol, a living proof that true strength is measured not by power, but by the courage to carry hope for others without losing yourself. The Straw Hats didn't grow to become stronger, they grew to become free. And freedom in One Piece always comes from change. Anyone can train their body, but changing your heart, that's the real journey. Do you agree with this ranking? Who do you think grew the most? Drop your list in the comments and subscribe for more One Piece breakdowns that go beyond power scaling. Because the greatest battles in One Piece aren't fought with fists, they're fought within.